Good morning. This is Barbara, the East Coast Dragon Lady, coming to you on Saturday with my weekly update and cards for the upcoming week. It's been a strange week, is all I'm going to say. If you've seen, I've posted a few clips on YouTube, on my Facebook page, and on Instagram, and I'm trying to get post more on Instagram, so I'm keeping some of my postings under 5 minutes so that I can get them up on there. But yeah, I've had an interesting week, and as I mentioned yesterday, whatever it was, Thursday, during the day, my experience of being taken into the mothership. So you can catch those. There's 2, 3 minute and 8 minute, and this is all to do with the 9. And then this morning, it's a really nice day here, and I was awake early. I was awake too early for me on a Saturday. Our internet had gone out, and I just wanted to sort of stay in bed and listen to a few things. I had to get up, fix that. But anyway, I was up earlier than normal, so just everyday life, right? But I decided to sit outside. I made myself a protein shake, and I sat outside, and I immediately got an image of, this seems to be happening more and more frequently to me, that I sit down, I have, it doesn't take a minute. I immediately saw, when I closed my eyes, the sun was bright, I saw the flower of life symbol, and I know there's a lot of people been seeing that recently, and it was sort of almost like it was covered in a veil, and then bits were poking through, and then I realized it was showing me what I then saw as a fuselage. This is all new language to me. Fuselage of an aircraft, it felt like, and then I felt like I was the pilot, and I was in, all I can say is the old-fashioned leather, so I'm here in World War One, and I've thought for a long time that I've had a lifetime as a pilot, because I often get goosebumps when I see, like, the Blue Angels, when I see aircraft flying over, helicopters, I get full body chills. So I've always felt that. And then what I was then told very briefly was, it's because one of my soul fragments was still part of that person. So as I went out into another dimension, so they're showing me that in that moment I went into another dimension, and it was a soul fragment that was part of my soul that I needed to go and witness, that was who I was, to bring that part of my soul back. Now, I understand on a soul level about soul fragments, but it seems like I'm being taken through a series of remembrances. I got a message, whatever day it was, talking about interdimensional parasites, which I recently experienced. Not to be repeated, let me tell you, it was not a pleasant experience. Seeing them, understanding what they were, we don't really need them. And here I am now experiencing soul fragments. So it feels like the tree of life was brought me to it, and then then it felt like I was in space. So I'm back in space, and I've had this experience before, being on a peace mission. So I think I'm being taken there so that I can see from a high perspective. That when I was taken on Thursday, it was to scan me. We can do that as humans if we're trained. It doesn't take much training. We can scan people for devices. I went to the big place, I went to the mothership and they put me through a machine. So that was in an instance. I was outside in the sunshine grounding myself, because that's a really great place. Haven't been able to do it much so far this year because it's been so cold. So I was grounding myself. I then saw some beautiful blues and yellows, and almost like it was an upside down feeling. I don't know why they keep doing this to me. I don't like these. So I saw blue underneath and yellow here. So it was almost like I was seeing part of a sun. And they're telling me that I was actually witnessing this from another planet. It was another memory. It was a soul memory. Because all of my lifetimes, apart from this one, have been on other planets. This is my one and only incarnation. I can say thank goodness. I don't want to come back and repeat this. So I'm having more soul memories, is what they're telling me. So interestingly, this happened to me a few months ago, that I was having past life memories on a battlefield, on various other places. Now this was a soul fragment that I've just reintegrated. So I also, having told you all that, I also have seen, and people have pointed out to me, that not only is it the supermoon tonight, and I just got this like hit that said it's tonight. I thought it was a new moon in Taurus, which it is, and this is the first new moon following the shift of Uranus out of Taurus. It served as a powerful grounding reset button for the entire zodiac. Astrologically, this specific new moon carried heightened energy and significance because it fell during perigee, the moon's closest point to the earth. It is classified as a supermoon, and supercharging is the theme. Grounded intentions, a perfect time for slow, deliberate goal setting focused on long-term wealth, financial security, and physical comfort. Yep, I need some of that physical comfort. Reconnecting to the body, an invitation to slow down, heal the nervous system, and prioritize the senses after a long period of Uranus's unpredictability. Favorable alignment, benefiting from the support of Jupiter, Venus, and Mars. The energy promotes emotional expansion, financial blessings, and beautiful new beginnings in relationships. So that's the new moon. And then, just to keep us on our toes, or keep me on my toes, I should say, and I think a lot of other people, the Schumann resonance has been pumping out all sorts of things, but this was an update about 2 hours ago. The Earth frequency has again just gone into overdrive. This is coinciding with elevated solar winds and continuing solar storms and a super new moon, all converging. We are currently in a high amplitude whiteout. How are you feeling? All of these converging energy events mean this is high energetic and opportune time to co-create. Now, as the super ignition point, activate by going within or spending time in nature, and where we can transmute, transform, and heal, align with our inner timelines faster and like never before by embodying the frequencies of our preferred reality regularly. This helps us reset the nervous system and broadcast our chosen timelines, collapsing them towards us and closing old timelines. So yes, definitely need to close old timelines. This is a powerful reset and seeding time, meaning what we seed and plan intend is now will amplify and grow with power of these energies multiplied. Awareness of our frequency broadcast is key. Check previous. all of May, we have an energetic arc. New high incoming frequencies are now available to work with us as we choose. Across different regions, many people are reporting elevated and euphoric mood, dizziness at the same time each day, yes, exhaustion, waking up during the night and or restless sleep, ringing in the ears, headache, pain or pressure, sensation behind the eyes, I've definitely got that, and the dizziness, animals behaving differently, electronic and tech interference, yeah, my Wi-Fi went out this morning, buzzing and hot flushes, no, cramps and aching and nausea, so yes, I've got some nausea. Rest, regulate, hydrate, ground, use water and salt scrub therapy if needed, get out into nature. If we have pain, get some daily sun exposure, good for cramps and inflammation. Sunrise and sunset is good for balancing circadian rhythms. If no sun, use a fire or candle flame. Watch and be near it. Grounding barefoot helps to balance the bioenergetic and circulatory system. Take care of yourselves and your loved ones and animals. And that message was from the Prisms of Light. So I think we know that we're in for if we're sensitive. I've certainly become sensitive this last year, and looks like so this year. And as we talk about light, I decided I was going to do this week's reading from the Gateway of Light Activation, which is Kyle Gray. As you can see, I like a lot of I've got a lot of Kyle Gray's cards. The first one I pulled was the Order of Melchizedek, Embrace the Light, Mission Uncovered, Don't Give Up. So I thought that was a good sort of beginning card, because when we're feeling challenged by something that feels big, a big life lesson, call in the Order of Melchizedek, light bearers, angelic beings, and cosmic guides. Thank you for enveloping me in your brilliant crystal clear light. You have learned so much and are now recognizing all the great lessons you experienced and challenges have brought you. The Order of Melchizedek is coming to you today to encourage you to continue on this pathway, not to give up. Even if moments of darkness and fear, there is the opportunity for you to share your light. If you're feeling overwhelmed, it's imperative for you to know you are not alone. Light is with you and within you, and by invoking spiritual support, you will be able to muster up the strength, courage, and focus you need to surmount whatever challenges you face. So I thought that it almost looks like a candle, but it's also a huge pillar. If you see, it's in the sky. It's this huge pillar, which I have to say, for many, many years, when I brought in the light from wherever it comes, I've often seen that. I did study Melchizedek method back in the 90s. So I've always felt that Melchizedek energy has been with me. But I thought this would be good to see what we can expect. We as a collective can expect this week. I'm going to see what I am drawn to pull. I don't know how many. I don't think it's going to be the same number that I pull every week. This has just been so helpful this week for me to be able to pull a card, and it helped me understand what I was experiencing. It is a nice day here. It's going to be in the 70s. There is a nice breeze. I really need to get to start planting some seeds. I feel like I'm really behind this year because I'm somewhat limited because of my back. I can't do what I would like to do. I can't spend all day in the garden like I used to. It has to be sort of an hour or so at a time. So Arcturian light codes, evolutionary downloads, recalling power, future thinking. There's two here, so I think I need to pull both of these. The crown chakra upgrade, karmic board clearing. Well, we also know that this year the karma wheel is dissolving. That's what they were showing me. They're showing me a wheel, and there's part of it that's dissolving. So the karmic board clearing. Rewrite your story, live your truth. I'll show you these in a minute. I think I'm going to pull two more. So 2, 4, 5, 6. So maybe I should pull 7, because that will be the week. It's interesting how the colours are coming out. Oh, Halls of Amente. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So if you could see these, there's the colours on this side. There's Order of Melchizedek, Crown Chakra, and the Halls of Learning, which to me are the Halls of Amente, and the Crystal Skull of Wisdom, and Karmic Board Clearing. I'm feeling drawn to read more about. So this is the cards for the week. Let me see what the karmic. Present eye. Karmic clearing board is a congregation of spiritual beings dedicated to implementing the law and cause and effect. They have the capacity to help us overcome any karmic blockages that are affecting us. We can call on them to bring healing into our energy field and to clear away any patterns that are standing in the way of our experience of love and the expression of our life. Karmic blockages are often misunderstood. Many people think the blockage is punishment for their bad choices or wrong behavior, but it is not. Source is always on your side. So the message is, if you are being overwhelmed by a traumatic memory or painful event, know it's because this old energy is no longer serving you, and that your spirit is calling for it to be released. Well, that was like my memory of being a World War I pilot. That was for me to release or to bring back my fragment of my soul. This card comes to you at a time when you are ready to surrender old ways of being and old stories, knowing that receiving this message means your energetic self has been taken to the karmic board during sleep or meditation, so that your light body can be cleared of all karmic blockages. Well, I've got goosebumps on that one because I went somewhere where they did that for me. So interesting. So this is the one. So we had Melchizedek. This is the Order of Melchizedek. That's the theme for this week, which is Embrace by Light, Mission Uncovered, Don't Give Up. The Crown Chakra Upgrade. There's a beautiful white dove. Divine Connection, Holy Experience, Miraculous Energy. Miraculous Energy. So when we get an upgrade, it's like the top, because that's, well, it's our top chakra into our body. So if we get an upgrade, then that trickles down into all our chakras. So we're getting that this week. We're getting crown chakra upgrade, and then it's going to trickle down into all our other chakras. And the halls of learning, spirit guides, confirmation, great lessons. So that to me is the halls of Amenti, which looks just like that. So if you do Akashic Records, or you've been into your Akashic Records, that's what I see: halls and halls and halls, hallways. And in those hallways, a floor to ceiling, are records. So this means that not only are we getting upgrades, that also our Akashic Records are being cleared, because we've got this karmic board that is clearing our energetic. So we're rewriting stories. Some people say you can do this in the Akashic Records. I'm not familiar with that, but when you've been called before the karmic board, or you've gone to the karmic board, they're clearing your karma from trauma or traumatic events. The Arcturian light codes, I love this one. So these are the Arcturians, which are great healers. Evolutionary downloads, recalling power, future thinking. So there's some of the colours that I saw this morning. Actually, they are the colours I saw this morning, the yellow and blue, except for I saw them that way. So the blue was on the bottom, the yellow was on the top. So Arcturian message. And Shambhala initiation, retreating to recharge, trusting the process. And so this is Shambhala. Shamanism, whatever this is to you. Again, I've got that yellow, which I keep seeing, which to me is renewal, and that looks to me purple. So Shambhala initiation, and then the crystal skull wisdom is the last one. And this is clarity, divine healing, high vibrational energy. So the purple I always think of as high vibrational energy. And the crystal skull is bringing us clarity. So interesting week. It's a lot about healing, letting go, healing. And this is a good opportunity as the new moon is going into Taurus. Now, I'm not an astrologer, but just that is my sort of what I've read, what I've heard, what we know from the Schumann resonance. Everything is pointing to that. So, and also the messages I'm getting from the 9. There doesn't appear to be a message today from them. They're saying no, they don't have anything today, but as soon as they do, they're going to give me the download. So they're explaining to me right now that the reason that there are many of us, I'm not the only one by any means, there's many people that have connections to this high level, because this is the mothership of motherships. That's how they've explained it. It isn't, they are like the overseers. They're saying they oversee, they're not in control of, they oversee all of the space stations, not our space stations, their space stations. They're very clear that this is galactic. And as I said, they've shown me these spheres of environments, floating pods, massive. I mean, if they look big to me, they're massive ships. It's sort of, I wasn't a big Star Trek fan, and some of that was like, you could tell it wasn't real, but it's sort of the images that we've seen where we say, oh, these are floating biospheres, is what they're telling me. Floating biospheres. This language, I don't know this language, but biospheres. So they're showing me they have like top level. I don't know why the top level is where they grow all the vegetation, and then there's seeding stations and watering, but the water goes from the bottom up and over and down, which again, to us, that would be you've got to pump it up, but they're saying it's their gravity pulls the water up and then comes down. And this is like a massive, like football field size or more, bigger than a football field size environment that they say is an adjunct to one of their stations that hold life form. So they have these biospheres, and I don't even know if that's what they're telling me. It's a biosphere because it grows all what they need to sustain them. That these are, they're saying life-sustaining. They give them energy. They give them, they enable them to breathe. They're filters. They do lots and lots of things. But again, they're showing me the vegetation up here, the seeding stations are in the middle, and the water is at the bottom. And then the water by gravity goes up and comes down. Interesting. Yeah. I love the fact they're showing me all of this. So biospheres. So I'm going to have to write that down. So, interesting information that I am being given, and they're saying they want me to talk about this frequently because there will be no disclosure. We're back on that. They're saying there will not be a disclosure because there is no real reason why we shouldn't know about them, because many of us do, and it's just that the population has been scared about who are our brothers and sisters out there. So they're saying there will not be a particular time, a time in time, that there will be a disclosure. People will start discovering. And when the human race understands that there is no harm meant, that they have been our protectors, they have been our protectors, they have been protecting us for many Earth years, Earth centuries, and gone unknown to most of the Earthlings. They love to call us Earthlings. So, and they say that is not a derogatory word. That's who we are. We're the Earth people. We call them ETs. They're not ET. They're not extraterrestrials, but we call them that. It's that sort of thing. They call us Earthlings. So, and like when they say we're peopling, yeah, they're just endearments, or how they refer to us. So they just want us to know that they could sustain our planet. They're like one of those biospheres could sustain our planet, not just the United States or England or Australia or New Zealand. The planet could be sustained, and this is what we're missing out on, because this technology has been known to them forever. Okay, so as I always say, if you're catching me, as you know, I am known as the East Coast Dragon Lady, but I do have the title of Galactic Ambassador, which I sort of had not become a big part of who I am, but just recently, as the dragons haven't stepped away, they've stepped back. They've told me to step back, and not to be too troubled with dragon information, any of that stuff. They wanted me to take a step back, and then I started to get information from the nine, to be shown things that I've not seen before, to be taken to places I've not been before, and they're telling me they're sorry that I had that bad travel experience, and that they don't need to take me back up to the mothership again, not yet. And if so, it will be done in stages, because they forget that our human bodies cannot sustain such fast thing. Our bodies, we don't have the oxygen. They're showing me oxygen in blood, and when we go very fast out of, I mean, the speed that even our aircraft can't do, we're taken lightning speed, because that's how they move. They forget that our bodies need time to get oxygen back in our blood. They're showing me blood, and they're saying that the oxygen, they're saying it's like if you go up a mountain here, and you don't have extra oxygen, it's that same thing, but multiplied by 10. Oh, great. So that's why the vision loss, that was why the bright lights, that was why when I came back, I couldn't, like, my body was here, my soul was here, and it came in too fast. That makes sense. That's what it felt like. It felt like I'd gone somewhere way too fast. And as I'm older, they're saying that they could do that to me. They've apparently done it before, that I don't have memory. So I do know, and I've shared this story before, that I was part of an egg retrieval program back in the 70s, which is totally backed up by my medical history, what I was told. When I learned it, which was probably about 15 years ago, which was in a galactic session, I met one of my galactic children. And again, I nearly fell off my chair. And because he looked so much like my son that is here right now, but more symmetrical looking, and definitely galactic looking. And he told me I was his mother, and then went on to tell me that I had been part of the egg retrieval program in the 70s, where I had donated or had all of my eggs removed. What I was told by medical doctors, that I was a bit of a mystery, and they could not figure out why I had no eggs, which meant everything had stopped. I wasn't pregnant. They couldn't get my periods to start again, therefore I couldn't get pregnant. All of that, how all that works. After adopting my oldest son, I then went on to get pregnant about 14 months later, I think, and my whole system kicked back in. So these were two very separate things that I would have not known about unless I'd run into. And I was told that there was many other children, galactic children, running around the planet, but I just happened to meet one. So again, all this information, I'm going to say, take what resonates with you and leave the rest. The dragons are still with me. They definitely, every now and then, they've just popped up now, and they're like, oh yeah, we're still here. We're stepping back for our galactic families. They recognize the galactics. They know who they are. Some of my dragons are galactic dragons. Well, some of them have gone back home. So they're like, so I have a lot of collectives of dragons, and a lot of them were getting older, because when they come, they're telling me that when they come to the Earth's atmosphere, they age faster. So some of them went back home to rest, back to their planets. So that's all I have for you today. What have I done? 35 minutes. So definitely we've got some interesting things happening for us. I will put these up on my Facebook page, and I will put this up on YouTube as well as my Facebook page. I hope this has been helpful. If you are suffering like I am with the Schumann resonance and these spikes and solar flares and all that stuff, just take it easy. I'm going to do some pottering in the garden this afternoon. I'm going to take my cat sitting in the window. She's made a pathway through my crystals. She's made a pathway so she can get. I've got the window open, so she's sitting there. She's an indoor cat, so when I go outside, she will be sitting either in the window or by the patio doors, because she has to watch me. Oh yes, that one thing before I go. So I actually, she had a session with an acupuncturist, a pet or veterinary acupuncturist. She's got GI issues, which I think I've talked about before, and I really wanted to find something that how we could help her with. She's got 3 fractures, old fractures of her pelvis from before I got her, and we think a paralyzed tail, possibly part of her intestine is paralyzed, and certainly her sphincter is. So we're hoping with the acupuncture it will open up some of those pathways, which have obviously been destroyed. It looked to me, I've always felt with my intuition that she was run over by a car. How she survived, we have no idea. Say there, her pelvis is broken in 3 parts. The rescue told me 1 fracture, but it's actually 3. But I'm thankful that she's my Lyran princess, and that was confirmed that she is in fact from Lyra, and she is a princess. So I gave her the right name. So anyway, it's Saturday. I hope you have a good Sunday as well. The weekend comes and goes way too quickly. So have a good weekend, and I'll see you maybe in the week.